are sufficient in sacrifice, more than enough for me. When I'm empty, you've been sufficient through all my life. You are enough for me eternally. I'm laying down the plans that I have, leave behind the weight of my past. Only wanna do what you ask me. Lord, here I am to give you everything, everything I am inside and out, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. Lord, here I am to give you all of me, everything I am inside and out, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. Lord, here I am. Good evening, Amplify. Good evening. What a night we're going to have tonight. The Lord is good. The Lord is gracious. The Lord is kind. And I just want to take an opportunity to sit with you all. I know you're eating right now. The Lord will always wait. The Lord is waiting for you. Let's set our hearts on the Lord right now. Take him in. Take him in. I will surrender without a price, 'cause all that you've done for me is all I need. I will surrender. Live your advice. If I'm gonna call you king, I'm gonna bend my knee. I'm laying down the plans that I have, leave behind the weight of my past. Only wanna do what you ask of me. Lord, here I am to give you everything, everything I am inside and out, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. Lord, here I am to give you all of me. Everything I do is for you now, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. I'm in your hands. It's in your plans. Don't need to understand. Just wanna glorify you. Lord, I'm in your hands. It's in your plans. Don't need to understand. Just wanna glorify you. Lord, here I am to give you everything, everything I am inside and out, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. Lord, here I am to give you all of me. Everything I do is for you now, to glorify you, glorify you. Ooh. Lord, here I am. Lord, here I am. Lord, here I am. Well, we're getting the evening started just a little early. We're going to sing another worship song for you tonight. We all have a testimony, right? We all have a testimony, and we're all here for a reason. So if you know this, I know you might have your mouths full of food, so that's okay if you do. But if you do, and you know the call and response to this, I want you to sing it with me. I was walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the high life, trying to satisfy my soul. All the lies I believed in left me crying like the rain. Then I saw lightning from heaven, and I Thank you. That's always a fun one. It's one of my favorites to lead, actually. Where to even start? If you would have asked me a few years ago what my life would look like, I certainly would not be standing up here. I never, ever thought my life could look like this. I never thought that I could be someone who could be up here speaking for all of you. My life has taken many turns, and finally, I've been turned in the direction I'm meant to be in. So thank you, first off, for having me here tonight. I do appreciate it. No, thank you. So my name is Honey Ribar. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a worship leader. I'm an addict in recovery. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. And I'm a child of God. And my question for each of you is, who are you? What brought you here tonight? What brought you to this moment, to this place, in this time? It's not by coincidence that you're here. No. No, God brought you here for a reason. And I want to leave this room getting more acquainted with that reason. Because that's not only the reason you're here in this room, it's part of why you're here in existence. The Lord knew there would be a pulse inside your heart when you began the beautiful, crazy, heartfelt journey that you're on. And I'm just here to share my story and my experience of living messy, to emphasize the importance of letting go and trusting the Lord, and to implore that you approach uncertainty in this life with freedom rather than fear. A little backstory on my life. I was raised in Egan. I have 3 brothers, 2 beautiful parents who love the Lord. I found my passion for singing at only 5 years old when the principal of our elementary school heard me sing the song Tomorrow from Annie. Do you remember that song? The sun will come out. Yep, that was the song I chose to sing for our little kindergarten talent show. And my principal was walking by and heard me sing. And the next week, before I even knew it, I was standing up in front of my entire school singing for 500 students. And now, I was a very planned child, so leading up to that week before the big performance was very stressful for me. I think I practiced maybe 20 times a day. I constantly was practicing. I never felt like I was good enough or that I was prepared enough or if the other kids were going to be better, I needed to jump my game up. You know, there was always competition, comparison, even from a young age. After I got off that stage, though, singing for my entire school, there was a feeling in me unlike anything my 5-year-old little self could have ever experienced, and it was indescribable. What are you looking for? I asked myself. You have everything you could have ever wanted. You moved to LA, you're accomplishing your dreams, you're the thinnest you've ever been. Why aren't you happy? What else will fulfill you? The only escape for me was to numb, to black out. I'd go out every night, drink until I'd pass out, go to work the next day. I'd fall asleep in vestibules. I woke up in hospitals multiple times, misplaced cell phones, money, laptops, and went places I knew the Lord wouldn't want me to wander. I was a barely functioning addict, existing from day to day, performing for the world. It wasn't until I hit rock bottom that I decided I need to move back to Minnesota. Maybe my family would ground me. Maybe they would help me find myself again. My parents would attend church on Sunday mornings, and depending on if I was hungover or not, I would join. Every time I found myself in worship singing praises to our Lord, I found peace. And eventually, I found myself. My mom talked to the head worship leader and asked if I could have an opportunity to sing with the team. However, 2 weeks later, I was leading worship at Hosanna, and not only a few weeks later, I was under arrest for a DUI. I was working through my messiness, and I was being pulled like a tug of war. And I knew what I needed to do, but it's like I couldn't get myself to do it. I found myself in solitary confinement up at Hennepin County Jail. This was the beginning of COVID. I remember looking out the little window in my space, seeing the sunlight rise after what was truly a nightmare. I heard God through the rays. You're no longer a slave to fear. Let it go. I got that feeling again, weirdly enough, in jail, right? I got that feeling of peace, of gratitude. Only He can give it, and He gave it to me that day. Thank you for keeping me alive, I thought. I'm here for a reason, and I am ready to start living now. I knew I needed help. I knew I needed to let go of the worldly things that had taken me down. My life had gotten so messy, yet worship showed me a glimpse of the cleanliness and joy I knew my heart could experience. And I knew in that moment that only the Lord could clean up my life. Only He could make this mess beautiful. And I had to put my full trust in Him. I needed to look fear in the eye and stop believing the lies. That if I stopped drinking, I wouldn't be fun anymore. If I stopped drinking, I wouldn't enjoy my life or get to have a drink at my wedding. They were all lies. I went to my parents. I had an analysis. And a few weeks later, I entered River Ridge's recovery program. It's now 2024, and I'll be 4 years sober on July 5th. Trust that He is your hand as you walk your path fearlessly. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Full transparency, fear crept on me last night and a little bit tonight too. My fear was that my story wouldn't be enough for you, and the expectation that God would show up here tonight. But that fear has dissipated, like it always does, because God shows up everywhere, every moment of every day. We cannot breathe without Him. We cannot find peace without Him, and we cannot exist without Him. He's here. He's always here. It's us who need to be here. It's us who need to be present and see all that He has made. See yourself, this life, and others the way He does. Everything happens in its place and its time for a reason. And sometimes painful circumstances occur. I know. And that's not to be ignored, rather embraced. For pain shows us that we're living. Pain also gives us the opportunity to grow and to find gratitude in the joyful moments. And by living messy within the Lord, we actually clear the clutter of the worldly things. And they no longer cloud our view of what's important. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will ground your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. You are meant for this time and this place. You are enough. You're strong enough. You're smart enough. You are enough. God molded you, placed you here, and had a vision for you. And my prayer for you is that you walk this earth seeing with His eyes, with love, compassion, gratitude, and a heart that listens when spoken to. Life gets messy. We're not perfect. That's why Jesus came, to guide us. So let us follow him. Let's say a prayer. Heavenly Father, help us let go of our way and do it your way, Lord. Give us full control to submit. That's the kind of control we want, Lord. Submission fully to you. We pray, Lord, that you take hold of us and that the gifts, talents, and stories that you've blessed our lives with be shared for all so that we can see more of you, Lord God, through them. I pray that we see this life with your eyes and that we use your mighty name as a weapon in defense of the enemy. May any fear that lives within us or that we may face kneel before the power of your unconditional love. May the messiness of our lives be placed in your tender hands for you to have your way with, Lord. Your light supersedes the darkness. And I ask with my soul, Lord, that you give us the vision that you see for us, for our families, for our lives, and for the present and path that lie ahead. We thank you for this messy journey that you've chosen us for, and we look forward to the pursuit as we walk fearlessly with you, hand in hand. In your name we pray. Amen.
Welcome. Honey, that was amazing. I did not know Honey a few months ago, but after she preached and sang at Hosanna Church, I had several people call me up and say, you got to get Honey to Amplify. So I asked somebody to please tell her who I was, and I called her up and I said, hi, Honey, I need you. And so she said yes, and she came. So I'm Julie. I'm president of Amplify Mission Network, and thank you all for coming tonight. So I have a few things to go over before we get started. The first thing is I need borrow 5 minutes from a past meeting. You guys who have been here a while know that some of the meetings we end a little early because you know I respect your time and we always end by 7:30. But tonight we have so many great things happening. I need to borrow 5 of those minutes. So I promise we'll unlock the doors at 7:30 if you need to leave. But otherwise, if you could give me 5 more minutes. The balloons that you've seen tonight, for those of you that are new, those are our meeting mentors. And they're meant to welcome you if you're new, to help you be seen, and to give you the lay of the land so you feel comfortable. So thank you to all the meeting mentors that have showed up tonight to welcome all our new people. And tonight I want to thank our meeting sponsor. Our meeting sponsor is Jerry Norton and the Brookshire Company. They have been so supportive of Amplify for so many years, and I am grateful that they sponsor tonight's meeting so that we can keep this meeting free for everybody, so we don't have to charge because we pay for the food and the rental, and I'm grateful for Jerry and the way that he's stepped up all these past years. So if Jerry will stand wherever you are, thank you. And now I'd like everyone to find your feedback form that's in front of you. If you all take a pen and put your name on the top of it. If you were here in January, you know that I shamed all of you because we only had 25% of the people in November return these. So guess how many returned them in January? Wrong. 50% of you. So that means 81 of you filled this out and 81 of you didn't. And I'm going for 75% this time. Okay, so this is a really important piece for our executive directors. It's a chance for you to encourage them, write down a connection, write down an idea or a thought. It's different than the facilitated sessions. So trust me, there's a basket in the back. You can leave it in the basket, but write down 1 or 2 things and stick it in the basket tonight. And finally, I don't have to say much about our theme. Our theme for Amplify for 2024 is Living Messy. And I'm so grateful for Honey and how she wove it into what she talked about tonight. And really, I just want to emphasize that living messy is actually a more freeing, liberating way to live than to be all buttoned up with certainty and with control and with fixing everything. So my challenge between now and our next meeting is May is to try and live a little messier, and that doesn't mean leaving your dishes in the sink or clothes all over the floor. But let's be a little messier with our lives and with the lives of the people that we love. Before we get started, we always try and hear from a partner or executive director about how Amplify has impacted their life. And we're going to hear a short video from Kylie Benson, who presented in January of 2021, Be Kind to People.
Hey everybody, it's Kylie Benson, the Executive Director for Be Kind to People. And I'm just here real quick to give you guys a little bit of update on where Be Kind to People has been since we've had the opportunity to be part of Amplify and glean from each of your guys' expertise. Hopefully today leaves you with some encouragement, because the things that I have to say are extremely encouraging. When Be Kind to People had the opportunity to sit with Amplify and sharpen what we think about our mission, how we explain it, and where we're going to take it next, all the strategies, operations, coaching, and all the amazing opportunities that each and every one of you in this room this evening bring to the table has allowed an organization like ourselves and so many more throughout the years to not only see where they are from other people's eyes, but also see where they can go from other people's eyes and the God in those eyes. So today I just want to give you a little bit of an update. Last when I checked in, we were doing a pandemic response for food to the community, as well as our mental health division was heavily getting involved with what was needs during the pandemic. We had some needs in front of us. How do we sustain the growth that we currently had? How do we move what was being done in a parking lot, kind of a pop-up response to the food needs, and solidify not only a warehouse, but operations and staff and all of the different things that you don't think about when you set out to just try to help people. And you at Amplify made an amazing impact in what we today are standing on at Be Kind to People. We could not have done it without you and the God in you guiding me and the organization in the direction it needed to go. So what have we done? We've taken that response and we're in the parking lot, and we now sit in a 15,000 square foot warehouse with a 10,000 square foot expansion that is currently being built out as we speak. We have retrofitted and outfitted the warehouse with walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers, all of the different warehouse equipment, forklifts, not one in the parking lot and also one in the warehouse, pallet stackers, you name it. We are a fully functional warehouse as of today, and that was not on the vision board when I sat with you guys at Amplify. What else are we doing? We have kitchens. We have continued to grow. Our revenue model as far as providing food for people within transition has continued to scale. We have menu plans. We have chefs. We continue to employ people that are in recovery and are looking for jobs, not only recovery from addiction, but prison reentry. People experiencing barriers, as far as what a job looks like. Be Kind has been able to provide jobs as well. All of these things are things that I sat down at tables with the coaches prior to our presentation with Amplify, and then the follow-ups afterwards. And every one of these things were seeds that you guys planted within me that I was able to execute with God's help through the community with Be Kind to People. So be encouraged. As you sit here tonight, who knows how God is going to use you. You have presenters here this evening that are eager and hungry, and their nonprofits are rearing to go, but they need you and they need the God in you. So be fearless, be courageous, and just know that each and every step and all of your time that you guys have dedicated is not for naught. The God in you is going to continue to grow people and grow these communities so that we can come together and make impact in people's lives that we may not ever meet. So as you can see, continue to be kind to other people, and I appreciate everything you do. Thanks, Amplify.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Sones with Tradition Capital Bank, and I have had the privilege to be a coach for Grace-Filled Table these last couple months. Coming into this experience, being a coach alongside my peers, I was super excited. But to truly see the transformation that's taken place, it's just been completely inspiring. So before I continue, can I get a show of hands of who loved the food tonight? Was it fantastic? Yes. I was just saying to Catherine, I wish I could take a second cupcake over there right now. Said this meal was provided and prepared by Catherine and her team at Grace-Filled Table. Let's give them a round. So it has been an honor to get to know Catherine. She is just passionate, she's driven, she's full of zest. It said, my hope for you guys tonight is that you'll be just as energized as I have been by how God's work is shining through a Grace-Filled Table. They are using food as a catalyst to build both relationships and community in Farmington. But her vision is much bigger than just building community and relationships in Farmington. She's just getting started. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Catherine up here to share her story of how Grace-Filled Table is building community and relationships one meal at a time.
Things that I have to organize up here. No. What an honor it is to be here, you guys. This is such a privilege for us, really just to share our story. It's a God-breathed mission, and we're going to walk you through a lot of it tonight. But before we dive into Grace-Filled Table, number one, what is Grace-Filled Table? We provide food. We serve anybody that eats. We do catering, classes, and weekly community meals. And as Jennifer said, we operate right now in Farmington. But before we unpack that a little bit more, let me give you just a little short history about who I am. Started my career, my lifelong journey of learning, working for a nonprofit in Minneapolis when I was in college. Shortly after that, I started the proverbial corporate ladder climb and loved that job. I did finance and accounting and strategic planning, building teams, doing a lot of teaching and training. And it was amazing until God said, I need you to build a different team. And that's the team you see on the screen. So in 2009, I stepped out of the corporate world to build Team Tubson. That's the last professionally documented photo that I'm taller than all of my children. And I was home full time with them for quite a while. And I believed so strongly that a lot of my gifts were done being used. And you ever have those moments where God kind of looks at you and goes like, that's really cute, but I got a different plan for you. And so that's exactly what happened. I really just felt this stirring on my heart that it was time to start dusting off some of the gifts that he had given me of walking out that path of what he wanted me to do. This was 2020. It was a terrible time to even consider any type of workforce reentry. Also coupled with the flexibility that our family needed, it just wasn't great. And so I started direct sales with Pampered Chef, and there were a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I love to cook, and I'm very, very passionate about bringing people together around the table. So that, coupled with the flexibility, it was a great fit for our family at the time. One of the unexpected lessons I got a crash course in digital marketing. Oh my goodness, from 2009 to 2020, boy, did the world change in terms of how we market and advertise and all the things. So I consider that a privilege, but the teaching desire in my heart just wouldn't go away. And so that ultimately kind of led to what was the start of Grace-Filled Table. Started with classes that naturally led to catering, and then that is when God really started to do his work within me. Those pieces started to grow, and a team needed to be built. You'll see most of them right there. But what really happened during that time is he just continued to place on my heart that the need that we have within our communities was wrongly defined. And so as I questioned why would we start another food-based ministry, they're already being done. He very clearly said, this one's going to be different. And here's why. So food, if we talked about community need, kind of in that 2020 or before, those would have included things like financial need, maybe food scarcity if you were close enough to like the city. But I think, I hope we can all agree the period between 2020 and 2022, our society was put under this like microscopic, petri dish experiment where so many needs started rising to the surface. You'll see a whole bunch of them listed here, but please know this is by no means a comprehensive list. We could probably spend an hour on that type of a breakout session of just defining what else was becoming a need within our communities. A couple takeaways that came from that period was, number one, myself included, there's not a person on this planet that doesn't have a need of some sort. Everybody has need. Okay, it doesn't always get defined in a narrow way, but everybody does. And then also, instead of a laundry list definition, like what does that look like as we walk forward? And so the themes that continued to just kind of rise to the surface were just that we had this lack of relationship and community. We had lost that with it, in those couple years. We really started to lose those things. And so what we did at that time is we really just redefined what is need. These two things interweave through the entire list and anything else you'd want to add to it. And so we really got to the point where we did almost a marrying of the passion that we had for food with the need to build relationships and community. And that's why God said, build another food-based ministry, because this one's going to be different. And so what does that look like? Here's a really high-level view of our programs. I said earlier, we do catering, we do classes, we do community meals. I love this picture because it shows you how messy and overwhelming, and it's a very nice, clean picture of how they all overlap with building those relationships and community at the center. I think for terms of, just explaining some of them, it's easier to look at them individually. You guys can read through some of these. Catering is pretty self-explanatory. You're experiencing it even right now. People love to work with us because of the quality of food that we prepare. It's fresh, delicious, healthy. But as we started to launch our ministry portion of Gracefield Table, one of the really cool things that happened is our catering exploded. Okay, people knew that by choosing to work with us, they not only were helping to, maybe meet a need on a corporate level or a catering need, but they were also helping to contribute to something bigger within the community. The same is true for our classes. Those have grown exponentially as well. It's just more of a fun and gives us that educational piece. But where we're going to spend most of our time on this slide is really in our community meals piece, because it's the heartbeat of everything that we do. I'm going to overemphasize the launch date of this program was October of last year, which means we aren't even 6 months old. Okay, we're super young in our business growth, which means you've all been there. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of messy. But instead of going through all of those details, I want to give you an idea of what does a community meal look like. Right now, we're operating in Farmington, and we serve a meal to the community every Wednesday, same time every week. And when you come to that meal, you choose whether you eat with us in the dining room or you take your meals to go. When you come, that meal number one is free. Number two, we have what we call our BOGO, or our Buy One, Give One program, which allows people to pay $10 for their meal. So pick any of those other lists, the needs on that list that were not financial, and use our ministry to meet those needs, or take those meals out into the community. It's been a vehicle to activate a whole bunch of community needs being met by other people coming to pick up meals and deliver them. So that's $10 a person. It pays for your meal and somebody else. On an average night, we serve 200 meals, and 25% of those are paid for through our Buy One, Give One program, which means the rest of the meals, 75%, are free. We have an incredible volunteer group that we rely very heavily on Wednesdays. It got 2 exclamations on here because it's such a thriving program. We are booked out for months and are actually back to the drawing board on creating more roles because there are so many people within our community that want to get involved. And so that is a really fun challenge that we have. But I want to give you, this is a very, mental, mind, appealing to the mind. But I want to give you a little flavor of what the Wednesday meals look like through the eyes of 2 other people. One of them is Samuel. And Samuel, and then Heather is the second person we're going to chat about. They both came to eat with us a handful of weeks ago. Both of them, their very first meal with us. And Samuel walked in the door and asked multiple times for help. We ended up praying with Samuel. We sent him with bags of meals, but we also asked him to come back. We said, would you use this ministry as a tool for you to rebuild your life, for you to rebuild your family? Would you do that? And when you come back next time, can we also help to get you some resources? He had shared a number of needs in his life that were on that list, things that were, beyond what we are doing on a Wednesday night, but things we could help to easily resource. And so that was a much, really just a crisis situation. And then Heather, in the very same night, wrote this to us at the end of the evening. She said, I've been reflecting on my dinner experience tonight. You are doing amazing things. You are serving much more than a meal. You offer the gift of respite for some, hope for others, connection to those who need it, physical healing to the bodies of the hungry, inspiration to others who may have a heart for service, but without the confidence to step into their calling. The list goes on. It was a real pleasure to see your work in action. God is the very best leader. So thankful that you have the willingness to follow. So I love that God gave us, this was a gift to us to see in the very same night, a very crisis situation, somebody else who came and paid for their meal, of what it looks like on Wednesday, what that cross-section of community looks like. So as Jennifer shared earlier, we have a huge vision. As we continue, as I get the privilege of having a bird's eye view of what's happening in Farmington, I really believe we have a responsibility to rebuild all of our communities, well beyond Farmington. Every community needs something like this, and when we dream really, really big, we ask questions like, what if? What if something like this was being done in 100 communities and churches? Or 1,000, or even 10,000, what would the fabric of our state look like if this type of relationship building and community was being built where people could come and say, I need help? And so as Jennifer also said, food is our catalyst. It's our catalyst to bring people together. It's our catalyst to build those relationships and empower them to go do the amazing things that God has for them. But before we get to that point, we got to get a little practical. So here's a snapshot of where we're at, right? As all the finance people say, the numbers don't lie. These numbers are very, very high level on purpose because instead of sending us on a rabbit trail of details, this is intended to paint a picture of what the possibilities are and the growth that we have that we've experienced. I shared earlier, our catering has grown exponentially. You can see that there. But I think the most important numbers on this slide are the ones in yellow. Those are the impact numbers. So just starting in the last quarter of 2023, we served just under 2,000 meals to the community and logged roughly 200 hours in volunteer hours. Our budget includes showing up every single week, and that looks like 12,000 meals out to our community. And we will easily log 1,000 volunteer hours by the end of the year. And so while, food's expensive, right? Food's expensive for everybody. It's even more expensive when you run a food-based ministry. We run incredibly lean, but we've got food. We've got a few paid people. We are projecting a loss at this time, but know that because of how new we are, we know there's a lot of assumptions and a lot of variables in here that we have to continue to walk through this year and just get a better handle on what, kind of how things are coming in. And so that really leads us to the question of how. How do we build a model of sustainable revenue that will allow us to get it right this year and to go into more and more communities with our model. How do we capitalize on our volunteer interest? How do we manage that increased catering demand? And then also, how do we increase, just through fundraising, donations, or events? And so I want to leave you with a word of thanks, because this was our story, but you've now chosen to be part of our story. So we thank you so much for your feedback, for your insight, for anything that we are just not seeing. We're in an exciting time as we really tackle this of how can we impact countless more people through the work that we're doing. Thank you.
So we're going to spend about 5 minutes where you can ask any questions of Catherine that came up while she was speaking. Just raise your hand and shout out your question. Lori.
That's exactly what sponsorship is. We have that as an option. It's a program that we're working to build out where people, individuals, businesses, or churches can either do a half sponsorship or a full sponsorship. Exactly, and it's to pay for those free meals, the cost of the free meals that are going out to the community.
So, but it hasn't been built up yet to the point where probably a sponsorship would cover all those costs?
We are working on building that up. We're probably averaging, like as we start moving forward, we've got about 2 per month, but we've got obviously 4 weeks of capacity that we would love to have that happen. We also give those sponsors the opportunity to volunteer on the same night, so they're actually serving meals to the community, which they love. All the marketing people, they get all the pictures and all the things. So, yeah. Our sponsorships are $1,000 for a full sponsorship or $500 for a half. And if people choose to do a half, we ask them to find a friend. So. A buddy.
That's awesome. Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, have you ever had donations in kind, like food donated?
So because we're a food-based ministry, we have to follow all of the Department of Health regulations. We're very limited on what type of food donations that we can receive. They do have to come from, like if it was a super, like a super value warehouse, that's great, but Timmy down the road that's got chickens, we can't take, unfortunately. So a lot of what we ask for, an easier ask in that regard, is more of our paper products. Of the boxes that are going out every week, those we can accept, absolutely.
Yeah, Jeff.
Is there kind of a faith-forward portion of the community meals where somebody's speaking, there's a message, there's prayer? What does that look like?
The short answer is no. So we've got people on site every week that's kind of their, that they're gifting. And so as those relationships are being built, those things are starting to happen, but there's not, in terms of like an organized message or sermon, no. It really, really is just that foundational of like building the relationships. We partner with a church, and one of our, as people are, maybe seeking a church home, we've got a list of people that are, sponsoring the work that we're doing, and we're able to kind of refer around, but not a formal program on Wednesday.
Ann.
What do your attendees at the community meal look like?
They look like you, Ann. No, they look like everybody. Honestly, on any given night, we've got, like a Samuel that's very much in crisis, all the way through like our city council members. So depending on the reason why you want to come to eat, I mean, literally you could make up your need of like, I just don't feel like cooking tonight, and be part of the solution by buying your meal or, delivering it. So it's families, it's, honestly, it's all over the board. It's a very great cross-section of our entire community. So. Yeah. Yes. Do you have a kitchen for us? Just kidding. No, the church that we partner with for our Wednesday meals, we also rent that kitchen for our catering work. And so as we have started to have some of the conversations about expanding into, neighboring communities, that question does continue to come to the forefront of, the kitchen that we're at, we probably could do 400 meals in a day, but after that, we're very much at capacity. So do we look at a bigger commercial space? Do we add a second day? Are we more of a kind of have that base camp kitchen? There's a lot of those potentials on the horizon. Would we love a huge space? Yes, we would.
How are you currently getting the word out in marketing, both for volunteer opportunities and for
Honestly, most of our advertising is word of mouth. People come and they kind of find out all of the programs that we're doing and they go tell all their friends about it. And so we do have, newsletter and social media presence and things like that, but we really don't, even with our catering, we don't do a lot of, marketing and promotion necessarily, because partly we have to figure out how to manage that demand. But typically people come and then they just, I would say every week it's a pretty good cycling of people who have been there. The number of new faces, has diminished over the last almost 6 months. But, if everyone that's ever eaten with us came on the same night, we'd run out of food real fast, which would be amazing. So,
Okay, one more question. I thought I saw a hand. We good? Okay.
yes. Ongoing conversations. We do have ongoing conversations with a lot of our local food-based ministries. One of our, the things we didn't want to do was overstep anything that's already being done. So that partnership with the local food shelf, they pass out our postcards. It's another marketing thing we do. Yes, absolutely, anyone. We've had some conversations with bigger organizations, and some of those bigger organizations, frankly, have said, we love what you're doing, but we kind of want to we just want to wait and see kind of how this transpires and how that partnership might look over time. So there's a ton of opportunity there, but I know our local other food-based organizations are loving the fact that they can send their families to come and eat every week.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Yes.
Hi, folks. Mark Hirschfeld. How you doing? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Good to be with you all tonight. Robert Kennedy famously said, "Some see the world as it is and say, why? Others dream of a world that could be and say, why not?" And with regard to loving up a community that isn't always loved up, though that being folks with disabilities, the Jam Hope Foundation has said, why not? And as a father of a child with a disability, I can tell you that that is a journey where we need to have more people saying, why not? Why can we not have programs for young people where they can be in places where they feel safe and they can feel like they can be themselves and they can grow? And why not have opportunities for people to have jobs that take advantage of some of their God-given talents, even though they may have a disability? Why not? Jam Hope is doing that right now. And it's very, very exciting for me to introduce to you my pal, Aaron Kelly, the Executive Director of Jam Hope Foundation, to tell their story.
All right. As Mark so kindly said, I am Erin Kelly, and I am the Executive Director of Jam Hope Foundation. It is so exciting and humbling and a little bit intimidating to be in front of you tonight. I am so grateful that God qualifies the called and does not call the qualified. I am just honored to be in this place and share this story with you. And there is not a Aaron Kelly story or a Jam Hope story without a God story. So we are going to start from the beginning. Oh, if I don't go backwards. So it's pretty cliche, I know, to say that your why is your kiddos, but these are my two children, and as you can tell in this picture, this is not how they normally dress. They are competitive dancers, and they live for dance. And as a typically sweatpant-wearing hockey player, this is why I know God has a sense of humor. So my girls, since they were tiny, have both shared this passion for dance, and they are so blessed to be a part of a major community hub local for us that is called Jam Hops. And that facility has, for over 25 years now, hosted all things from theater, birthday parties, ninja courses, gymnastics, dance, all of the things. So it is a community of over 2,000 families coming through on a weekly basis through this place. We call ourselves a Jamily, and it really has been a second home, and it's been our village. And it's really interesting how stories intertwine, but as Catherine was saying, so 2021, I was in my 13th year as a school counselor, and really saw the social, emotional, mental health, all of those needs just really explode as we returned to what was supposed to be normalcy post-COVID. And the crisis that walked through my door every day as a school counselor was pretty earth-shattering. So I thought that I would retire from that. It was my passion, and really in that year started to just really feel broken with the level of need that I was seeing in my community. And really felt like God was calling me to try to do something different, to take a proactive approach to supporting these families and their kiddos in our community. Along with that, there are things that I was seeing of the disparity that these needs were hitting my community and my students and my own children, there's been plenty of research that I've now dug into, but the loneliness epidemic, the mental health crisis, all of those things are almost doubled for those community members with disabilities. And so I was feeling it, living it, and luckily, through some closed doors that God put in my path, he had a different place for me to be. I'm gonna try to not go backwards again. And unbeknownst to me, he was weaving another story at the same time, and that was the story of Jam Hope. So there was a group of people at Jam Hops that decided that there needed to be something more to break down barriers so that all kids could be a part of the opportunities that my children were getting to experience. And so through some fun open doors, I was asked to come onto the administrative team and very quickly became the executive director of what is now the nonprofit Jam Hope. This is just to give you a little bit of an idea of the blessing that is to be housed in this facility as a nonprofit working with kiddos with disabilities. So we already had the community. Now we were just breaking down barriers to make sure everyone was included in that community. The scope of our programming started with our Alpha Athletes program. So Alpha Athletes was something that I inherited when I came in to be part of Jam Hope. It started with 6 kiddos with pretty profound physical and cognitive disabilities, and it has since grown. We just enrolled our 31st kiddo with 3 trials this week as well. So plenty of kiddos coming in, and I'll give you some more pictures of them as well. We then started to branch into community outings and field trips. We have this big, gorgeous facility that hosts us that is primarily an after-school space for kids. And so we started to try to dive into how we might be able to utilize this space during the day. We've partnered with some really incredible adult day programs that are providing experiences for adults with disabilities, and some of our local schools that are bringing out their special education programs during the day and being able to experience this safe, beautiful place. This is an incredible twist in the story. So Jam Hops, as they were growing themselves, they were building this major expansion on their building and so this is probably a month into me working there. They're talking through this expansion, and they're putting in like a smoothie coffee shop, a concession place, and taking it out and putting it in and taking it out. And I went to our president and I said, what if we open it as a work experience for teens and adults with disabilities? And she didn't say no. And so now 2 weeks ago, we opened our Jam Hope Cafe that is housed in this huge facility, so providing a great opportunity for our families to experience this community hub, and then also work experience. Backwards again. So I'll dive into it a little bit more, but these are some of our alpha athletes. And as I said, I inherited alpha athletes, and I still get a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I really ready for this? And our alpha athletes, when I tried to dig back and figure out why this program is called Alpha Athletes, I'm going out into the community, and many people are thinking this is like our elite programming, sports programming at Jam Hops. And as we're digging back the layers, I find out that the person that named it is a youth pastor, and so it's very biblically tied to the Alpha and the Omega. And that felt like such a God wink to me, that these kiddos who I see as elite, and Jesus really turning the idea of eliteness on its head, that we just had to change the way that we were measuring that eliteness. So one of our kiddos who is pre-verbal, that is in our programs, every week when he leaves, he asks his mom through sign how many sleeps until he gets to come back. And every week it's 7. So I know how to sign 7. But that just really helps me recognize that this is so much bigger than me, and God will only let me get in the way of this mission so much. The community outings and field trips, like I said, has grown exponentially. So we now, on a pretty regular basis, have 101 attendees to our field trips and community outings on a monthly basis. So just the joy that is happening, I think for all of us, it's the highlight of our week every week. We've partnered with some other amazing nonprofits and really trying to grow that. And a great compliment I got from one of our attendees was the person said, there were no wheelchairs or walkers on the sidelines at Jam Hope. So that was a great compliment. Ooh. Okay, and I'm Italian and I talk too much with my hands, so sorry for the crazy clicking. So Jam Hope Cafe has just been bigger than I could have ever dreamed, and God is working in such incredible ways through this. We are, like I said, this will be our 3rd week of the Jam Hope Cafe, so still so much that we're truly learning as we go. As you heard, I have 0 background in any of this, so we're just learning day by day, and it's been a really beautiful thing to be vulnerable with our new employees, some of them getting their first jobs, and them seeing us learning and growing and being messy. And if I can spill it, drop it, break it, I promise you I've already done it. So that's been really fun.
Is getting to learn from them. And
let me tee this up quick. One of the things that I so strongly believe is that the capacity for our current community members to be inspired by the diversity of people with disabilities being included in our programming is so much greater than that we will ever inspire those community members with disabilities as being a part of our space. And so I just love so much. This is one of the girls that she coaches, our Alpha athletes. She's been a longtime dancer at Jam Hops, and she really is a mentor for my kiddos.
My favorite part is getting to learn from them and getting to be a part of their journey, and watching how much they loved it and watching them grow in their love for it, because it's something I'm super passionate about, and being able to work with kids who want that same experience is really important.
So this is where my expertise ends, and this room really is just why I'm so grateful to be a part of the Amplify journey. So I just want to give you a snapshot. This is our 23 program income and expense. And as we dive into your support and your areas of expertise, some of our non-negotiables and some of the reasons that we are operating as a nonprofit is for our Alpha athletes. Many of our athletes have a 1-to-1 support ratio. So as they all pay tuition and we are keeping it at the same rate as a typical ability peer, so if the goal is to move those kiddos into mainstream programming, for lack of better words, and so we don't want that financial piece to be a barrier to moving them in and out of programming. We also provide ASL interpreters, things like that, that we will continue to provide even though the tuition will never offset that cost. Community outings are just in the baby stages, so those are new to us. And then the cafe is 2 weeks in, so we'll see where that goes. But the biggest expense right now then is the admin expenses. So we do have 3 people that are on payroll as administrative staff. So where is our revenue coming from? You can see from this pie chart, we have a really great community outpouring from individuals and local businesses that are pouring into our mission. So that is a huge portion of where this last year we were able to sustain ourselves with the revenue. Because I have been working a lot in the business and not as much on the business, you can see that there are some areas of some growth that we're needing as far as fundraising, grants, and things like that, so that we can continue to sustain our programming. This is just a sneak peek at our people, and so we are a little upside down comparatively to what Catherine was saying. So we have a small volunteer base at this point, and part of our reason for, or our barrier for that, is wanting to make sure that we have consistency for our kiddos. And so a lot of our volunteers will want to do 1 hour, 2 hours, or kiddos with their NHS hours, and they'll come in and then they'll fulfill their hours in one Sunday of class, and then we don't see them back again. So I'm trying to figure out that consistent volunteer base. My board is all here, and so we have 3 board members, and as I said, for paid staff, I have 2 coordinators, one for Alpha athletes, one now for the cafe, and myself, and then the participants are just growing exponentially, and the families that come through our facility as well. So as I worked through the Amplify process with my coaches, it really just boiled down to that we were swimming in opportunity and also drowning in that same opportunity. So just really trying to figure out, as our host site builds this, or has this now expansion, we've doubled in size, which is a great opportunity. They're opening a new second site. We have our cafe open, and with still a lot of daytime capacity to do some community gatherings and things like that. The growth is unbelievable, and the need has really just been coming to us. And we have a high community demand for services. So especially being on that northern end of the suburbs, we have a family that is driving 2.5 hours right now to come to our facility for a deaf, hard of hearing play group that we have that comes to us on Sundays. So the need is there. Figuring out how to prioritize and fit that need has been the interesting piece. So challenges is just with that growth, trying to figure out the best staffing volunteer model, how to prioritize our as in any nonprofit, are finite financial and human resources, and then trying to figure out a sustainable revenue source, and then just making sure that we really have that foundation for sustainability. So we've really been building this plane while it's in the air, and just as we kind of peel back layers of what the community need is, and so really feeling that I'm a bit of a blown up in a china shop, so really now trying to pump the brakes, figure out where we might be, there might be some gaps or needs that I need to make sure we have a strong foundation. So where you all come in this incredible room is how do I create the structure for continuing to fulfill the mission of Jam Hope today and in the future.
Okay, no, you keep that. We're going to answer about 5 minutes of questions. So raise your hand if you have a question, and Aaron will answer it. Yes?
Our kiddos have caddy waivers. Are you tapping into that?
Yeah, so the question was, there's different county waivers, and yes, we do accept the county waivers.
Can that be expanded, like the rest of it?
It's really interesting you say that. So we are partnering with a nonprofit that provides respite care, so we're working on those pieces. So I appreciate you acknowledging that. So it's myself as the executive director. I have a coordinator that oversees our Alpha Athletes programming, excuse me, and then a cafe operations manager. We also have about 10 staff that do coaching or direct instruction with our kiddos. They're all also Jam Hops employees, so they come do their hours with us with our Alpha Athletes program, but they're all also employed as Jam Hops coaches.
Other questions? Yes?
That's a great question. So we started with 4 to 12-year-olds. We have worked this year to try to have some teen things, so 12 and up. Besides our field trips, we have not had a lot of turnout for that. So that program has not been as grown as exponentially as the 4 to 12-year-olds. And then really working on getting some of the adult day programming on a more regular basis. So right now it's just been kind of as the need arises, we'll partner with a local community. I also know that there's about 100, or I apologize, there's a 10-year wait list for our county for people to get into adult day programs, and so trying to figure out how to tap into that community of adults with disabilities that might not already be plugged into a county resource or a day program. Yes.
Yeah, Lori.
Yes. Very minimally. They're very good to us, but yes.
Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just had, so this summer we did like a 5K. We had sponsors for our 5K. We just did a Give to the Max, basically email promotions, and had donors through that. And then before we opened the cafe, we did a lot of promotions to that. So our cafe, the startup costs and the building were fully funded. So that was all kind of a big part of that. So local business sponsors and then individual donations.
Final question, anyone have? Yes?
Any collaboration with physical therapy providers or adaptive play providers?
Working on that as well. So haven't had the capacity to dig into that as much as I would like, but it would be an amazing space for that. So, yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. Mm-hmm. You can. Okay, now I'm going to put you guys to work. This is where you roll up your sleeves. Okay, so thank you, facilitators, for facilitating and all the work you did tonight. On these feedback forms, there's a place where you can check if you can attend the AMP session. Those of you who don't know what an AMP session is, it's a 1-hour Zoom meeting next week from 8 to 9 a.m. Who isn't available for an hour from 8 to 9? Really? We make it so easy. So if you can mark on this form, if you can come to one or both of those meetings, it would be great. Here's the deal. The executive directors are overwhelmed and drinking from a fire hose. And your presence on that call shows them that they're supported, they're cared about, they're encouraged, and you can help them identify those tangible next steps that they need to do for their nonprofit. So please consider checking that box. And next, I am excited. Some of you, or maybe most of you, saw our email that went out, but I want to tell you that we have Bob Goff, who is going to be coming to our big event in September, on Friday, September 6th. So not only do I want you to save the date, but I want you to go to our website and click buy your tickets now, because we hope that we sell out. I also want to tell you that one of the only ways we raise money is at this event. And we do it through sponsorships and ticket sales. And so as we get bigger and work with more partners and more nonprofits, the cost of running Amplify goes up. And I was amazed that when we played a game in January, if you were here, most everyone in the room thought our budget was $150,000. So that would mean I work for about $25,000 and the rest of them work for about $25,000. Well, I love Amplify, but I don't work for $25,000 a year, sorry. So I am going to ask everyone to consider if they would consider a sponsorship. We have some flyers in the back that tell you what a sponsorship at different levels covers. But again, it's one of the only ways we raise money. We don't ask for money in this room on purpose. We guard it. We invite you here because we want your time, your talent, and your networks. And that is the most important thing, and I want to keep this room sacred. So thank you for considering sponsorship. And for those of you who don't know who Bob Goff is, he is not your average guy. He's the human embodiment of a confetti cannon. As a lawyer turned life cheerleader, Bob is on a mission to make the world a brighter place. His mantra, love everybody always. He's best known for his best-selling Love Does series. Bob's books are a delightful concoction of whimsy and wisdom. Whether he's globetrotting or simply sharing a cup of coffee, Bob is a force of nature. In a world that sometimes can be a bit too serious, Bob is here to remind us that love and laughter are the ultimate game changers. Now, I'm excited to tell you our next meeting is May 14th, and our theme that night will be veterans. It's a really, really important topic, and the two nonprofits presenting will be Bravo Zulu House and every third Saturday. So I hope you'll mark your calendars and come. And then Eric Giesemann is our veteran who will be our speaker. And now, if you are new tonight, if you would stand up. Everybody who's new, stand up. Wow. Okay, don't sit down. Don't sit down. Okay, so we have a present for you, and we had t-shirts made for 2024, and one of my mantras, and my kids will tell you, I say it to them all the time, how do you eat a whale? You eat a whale one bite at a time. So every one of you new people, on your way out tonight, will grab a t-shirt, and it's back there at the table, so don't forget it. And now I'm going to hand the microphone, and we're going to go around. If everyone could say their name and one word to describe this evening or something that surprised you about this evening. So don't sit down. Hang on. Here you go. And then you can just pass it around.
Me first. Hi, I'm Jim Best. It was informative.
I'm Stacy Clayson, and it was inspiring.
You took my word. Yes, inspirational. Yes, I'd definitely say that. Cassie Olson, by the way.
Joel, inspiring. Abby, I'm also going to say inspiring, sorry.
I'm Brad. Man, I should choose a different word. Equalizing.
Alicia, I would say collaborative.
I'm Leslie, and it was interesting.
I'm Anne, and I would say exciting.
Mike McCallion, I thought it was really awesome, and I'll be back.
Rick, compassionate.
Holly, I would say humbling.
Chet, humbling.
Mick, hopeful.
Brian, good food in a church.
Well, that's easy to follow. I'm Elisa, and I think it was valuable.
My name is Caleb, and I would say community.
Justin, and emotional.
Trudy, and I would say new relationships.
Shanna, possibilities.
I'm Gordon, I would say fun.
John, and I would say potential.
Alan, I would just say service.
Danielle, energizing.
Hi, I'm Jo Saxton. I would say exciting.
Melanie, and I would say inspiring.
Thank you. Alicia, heartwarming.
That was my word, and I thought it hadn't been said. Donna is heartwarming.
Brenda, impactful.
Keith, and purposeful.
Tom, and challenging.
Jan, and semi-business-like.
Ryan Jackson, and grateful.
Jordan, and valuable.
Mark Hofstad, motivational.
Patty, delightful.
Derek, and encouraging.
Danielle, and amazing.
Sarah, welcoming.
Terry, community.
Alan, encouraging.
Garrett, and I would say fascinating.
Al, and I'd say humbling.
Anne, amazing.
Leah, time well spent.
Stephanie, inviting.
Am I on? Thank you all so much. You can sit down and don't forget your t-shirts when you leave. Okay, 2 more things really quickly. Whether you're new to Amplify or have been around a while, people don't always understand the ways that you can get involved. So tonight, I thought what could be better than to ask a few of our partners to share their experience engaging in some of the areas we need help with at Amplify. So Mike, Kate, Karen, and Haley, will you come up here?
Hi, everybody. It's my first time on stage. My name is Haley Eikens. I'm on staff with Amplify. You've probably seen me checking you in or getting a nice email from me. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about greeting. We all know what greeting is. We get to share our infectious smile, give some positive energy as partners are walking into the room. Like Julie said earlier, we really pride ourselves on not being cliquey. We want to be community-driven. We want to be welcoming the second you see those doors. So that's the opportunity for greeters. And we're on the hunt for energetic individuals who thrive on spreading smiles and creating unforgettable experiences. Greeting, you have like a 5-second window to make someone's day special. And if that is your talent, you need to send me an email because y'all, I need some greeters, okay? So if you want to be a part of that team, please reach out to me, whether it's directing our guests by answering questions, or simply sharing your infectious smile or your enthusiasm, your presence really does make all of the difference. So, like I said, send me an email and I'll be waiting for it. Thanks, guys.
So some of you may have been sitting during this last half hour saying, I want to be a facilitator. You were inspired. And I'd say Julie and the team do a great job of explaining how to do it and what to do. However, for those of you that aren't quite sure what we were doing facilitating, I'll tell you. First of all, Mike has my balloon because I want to give you a little sense of what it is to be a facilitator. If I were to grab the balloon, I'd say part of what you are is a welcomer to the table. So it's a smaller group. It's 8 to 10, not the entire room. So you get to greet people, welcome them to the table, find out why they're here, make a small friendship community going. Secondly, you're kind of like an air traffic controller. So that's the analogy that comes to me. My husband's a pilot. So what you're doing is orchestrating people to share, make sure we don't go down the wrong runway, stay on topic, come on back in, we're safely landing. The other thing that you're doing is cheerleading. Anyone want to? Yeah. So you're like, come on, you can do this, you can share. It's part of a team, we're all fun. So it really is about encouraging everyone in your group to participate and to offer the wisdom they have. And then the other thing you are is a fisher person, man. You're fishing for more of what they might know and that they bring to the conversation. You just kind of wait for some people, others snap up right away, and you get to be that fisher person. So really the bottom line is to be a facilitator. If you want to and you are a welcoming person, you don't need a lot of skill, you just bring your heart. And if you're incredibly curious about other people, it's a great way to get to know people. And if you don't want to have to know the answers, be the facilitator.
Okay, so for those of us that are not mentally competent with a computer, and therefore greeting is out, we have meeting mentor. The meeting mentor are those of us that have the balloons that welcome everybody and explain what the run of the show looks like. Here's what the meeting's gonna look like. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna sit here, you're gonna go there, you're gonna eat. We're gonna explain what Amplify does. If you've been to one or two of the Amplify meetings, you could be a great meeting mentor. And one of the reasons we're not cliquish and we're not small in terms of the number of people around is we always have lots of new people. And you saw that tonight. And hopefully we keep this always happening because the meeting mentors are really awesome. They're really fun to be around. And I love being a meeting mentor, and everybody who's a meeting mentor tonight just gets lots of joy out of doing it. So be a meeting mentor. All right, the other job is really serious. One of the things that makes tonight work is all of the pre-work that goes into preparing the nonprofits for the ask. And that's handled by groups of coaches for each nonprofit. The coaches put in probably 20 or 30 hours over 4 months preparing and understanding the business model of the nonprofit and getting them ready for what tonight looks like, and then holding their hand to absorb all the details after that. So if you want to get involved a little deeper, a little more intensely, but for a shorter period of time, be a coach for one nonprofit and then step out for the next cycle, great. But being a coach is one of the most rewarding things because you can actually watch the light bulb go off in the executive director's face when they go, wait, we can do that? We can really do that? And the room has provided these people that can make this happen? Being a coach is awesome. Be a coach.
Thanks, Mike. And then after that session and after this session, the next step, if you wanted to get even deeper, is Julie will call you and ask you to be a mentor. For each of the EDs that were presented, they're assigned a mentor, which for about 9 to 12 months post-Amplify. and post the AMP session is taking all this information and helping to absorb it and put it into practical use and helping these EDs execute on them. So I've done it a couple times. Right now I'm mentor to, I don't know if anyone remembers Kathleen Goslin of Waters of Rest, who is a delightful, all of them are so brave, and I just am so inspired by that bravery that they have to come and first start their ministry and then to come and present it to a room full like this. But so we meet once a month. Sometimes early on we met more than once a month just to get a plan. How are we going to work together for the next 9 to 12 months? So now we meet once a month in a coffee shop. She's wonderful. I give her homework. She does everything I ask her to do. But she gets to run it too. So she brings new problems. We solve them together. Tomorrow she's going to make her first ask of a donor. I'm so proud of her. But the other thing I've done too with this one in particular, and it might be helpful for future mentors, is I had the opportunity to work with her board, because that gives her another basis of support when I'm gone. And a lot of the board members are pretty hungry for what happened here, and they learn a lot from it too. So if you are a mentor, I would just encourage you, if that's an opportunity for you, to take it, because it's really helpful.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay, last thing, and then we're going to hear from Honey, one last song to close us out. If you would all take out your phones, I know I've asked you to put them away, but now I'd love you to take them out. On the feedback form or on the screen behind me, there's a QR code. We want to keep learning, we want to keep growing, and you guys are going to help us do that. And the only way we know what's working and what's not working is to hear from you. And so we're asking you, there's 5 questions on there. Who can't answer 5 questions in like 1 minute? So if you guys would scan that QR code and answer those questions, it also gives you an opportunity to check the box that said, I'd like to learn more about volunteering. Literally, you can dip your toe in, you can jump in, you can go all the way. We have lots and lots of different ways for you to volunteer, but it really, really helps, because so many of you have volunteered and gotten to walk alongside these executive directors and ministries and our partners. So I want to say thank you to all of you for everything that you've done. And now we're going to listen to Honey close us out, and look forward to seeing you guys in May.
A few more moments of worship, if we could. And you can stay seated if you want, or if you want to stand, if that makes you feel more in the presence, that's great too. Whatever works for you. It's been such a beautiful night. Wow. He's always with us. He's a good God. And if you know this one, I want you to sing along with me. And if you're not a singer, that's okay. God doesn't care. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, and in darkest night, you are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in in the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me again, again. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now, and I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna sing. Oh, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for a beautiful night of community, of thought-provoking questions to make the next steps. And we pray, Lord, that you walk boldly with us. Be our courage so that we may have no fear in our pursuits. We love you and we thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.